Woohoo! We're back. Hello, welcome
Hey.
again to the No Job Experience. How you doing, man?
Yeah, no, pretty good, mate. Yeah, no, it's been a while,
That's
but
good.
no, good to be back.
It has been a while. We have been slacking, so that's unfortunate. And but no, we are finally back doing another live stream after far too long. So it is good to be back. How you been, man? You been good?
Yeah, not too bad. Recovering from a broken rib, but yeah,
Broken.
that's
Oh,
it.
no.
Yeah, unfortunately, it had to happen at work, so I had to go through all the corporate BS. But
Oh, that's always
yeah,
good fun too.
trying to force me to get back to work on light duties and all the rest of it, and straight away, and oh yeah, just all the corporate stuff. Let me tell, if a word of advice for everyone else out there, if you're gonna break a rib or any kind of injury, do it at home. Well, don't do it at all, but if you're gonna hurt yourself, do it at
Yeah,
home because
yeah.
you can
Generally, we
still
want
get
to avoid them.
ACC and there's like, yeah, all the work compensation you can still get, like, but yeah, just don't do it at work because it's not worth the hassle. Yeah, be careful out there and
No.
yeah, don't take any shortcuts.
Well, yeah, no, that's true as well. Um, we've got like in where I work, there's like a truck service pit, and like guys um definitely do not step over it. But with occasion, it's a rule. You're not meant to step over it, but plenty of guys have done it in the past. And yeah, there was there was one guy who like he was the service guy, and it was his job, and he like stepped over it all the time, even though he wasn't meant to. And then just yeah, one day missed his foot and like was off for quite a long time because he came down on his ribs pretty hard.
Yeah, and I bet there was all the work meetings and like, you guys aren't meant to be doing it, yada yada yada. Like, I was
Yeah, yeah,
fortunate enough. I
absolutely.
wasn't. I was fortunate enough. I wasn't doing. I was just doing something I do every day, and it was just a
Yeah,
unlucky, accident. But yeah, but
like
yeah,
there was
definitely.
I was just gonna say there was one company I worked for one stage, and we had like the company safety guy come in, and there was like I can't remember. There was three things that on their own, like people would get kind of a slap on the wrist, but they happened right in front of all three of them happened in his while he was at the branch, and he saw them. Like we saw at least two of them, and like maybe the third one happened while he was there, and like he was so wild. He was like about ready, like literally about ready to tell everybody to like tools down, like we're shutting down for the day. That's and like fortunately, nobody had actually been hurt, but it was like three close calls just in the time he was there, and it was just
And I
like, oh, it's
guaranteed they would not have happened if he wasn't there. Because people are like on edge and they're like thinking that, they know he's watching and, they're not
yeah,
concentrating on what they're doing because they're worried about him watching. And that's when accidents happen. That's where I reckon like places like work audits and things like that need to change. Like, maybe they can, I don't know, have reports from someone internally or something like that. Because, yeah, like we have people like that turn up at work and it's just like everyone's on edge and that's when accidents happen. People are too worried about that they're being watched and then accidents happen because they're too worried about,
too
being
worried.
watched
Yeah,
and getting in trouble and then they make mistakes and they don't make mistakes normally. But
yeah,
it's the world we live in
and I
though.
think we have a thing here in New Zealand as well, like where we're like we go too far overboard with with hazards, and like I mean like that, like in a lot of workplaces, like where I've been, and you work, there's like just hazard tape and like high vis on things absolutely everywhere, and it's so much to the point that you almost don't notice the things because it's just all over the place, and it's like you
Yeah,
can't pay attention to that many things at once. So I think also it's like counterproductive in that sense.
yeah. Oh,
But
100%. It was like, I think it was in Australia, they stopped everyone having orange high vis because like on the roads, like road workers, they've all got orange high vis, and then they've all
they
got
look
all
like a
like,
road cone.
yeah, they look like a road cone. So you get all the
Yeah,
orange road cones, and then like people are just so everyone blends in. So they had to change high vis color, and that's one thing that probably does make sense. But yeah, but yeah, I think they
yeah,
looked at
yeah.
changing the high vis to yellow, and then they looked at changing. I think some of them are looking at changing the road cones to white instead of orange. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that's interesting.
then
Oh,
it's
so
more
if it
like,
was like a reflective white, I suppose that would make sense.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that's some interesting health and safety talk there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it.
Riveting stuff. Stay
Yeah,
safe out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Not
Brought to
just
you by
getting
New
paper
Zealand
cuts.
Working Safety or whatever it's called. I don't even know what it's called now. I lose
Yeah.
track.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be OSH and now it's just like it's WorkSafe, isn't it? They're like the new
Mm.
kind of yeah. But no, you can cut yourself in the office and you can crash your work gear at work and like, anything could happen, no matter what you're doing. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, be safe.
Yeah. Anyway, look, we'll move on to some slightly slightly more topical things, I suppose. There's a lot happening in the world at the moment. I think with things going on, it almost feels like there's a lot of people at the moment going on like we're almost approaching possible World War III, which is an absolutely terrifying and depressing thought. So we maybe we'll avoid that subject anyway. So I'll go on to something a bit more lighthearted. What about movies? Have you seen any good movies lately?
I did watch not long ago. I did watch Oppenheimer. I don't know if that's how you
Oppenheimer?
pronounce it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
meant to go
it's
see
got
that and I
the
didn't actually.
really
There's
good
a
movie.
Christopher
Yeah,
Nolan, the whole bomb, eh?
yeah, and then it's got the guy that plays the lead role in Peaky Blinders. I've forgotten his name, but he's
Oh,
really
yeah,
good in it.
yeah, I like him as an actor, eh? He just seems pretty cool. But
And
yeah,
Matt Damon. Sometimes I'm not a big fan of Matt Damon, but he's in it and he plays a good lead role as well. So definitely worth going to see.
yeah. Yeah, Matt Damon's got like he's a really good actor, but he's kind of one of those guys. It's kind of like a bit hit and miss sometimes with his roles, like whether
Yes.
you like him or not.
Yeah.
Um, I think he's always seems like a good actor. It's just
Yeah.
some roles like you really like him in, and others you just like, nah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's not just me then.
no, it's not because there was him and oh, what's the Ford versus Ferrari? Have you seen that one?
No.
That one was really good. And he kind of plays at times plays a little bit of an arsehole. Although to be
Yeah.
fair, it's also got Christian Bale, and his character is just a really likable arsehole, and he is a straight like he just winds everybody up. And
Yeah.
him and Matt Damon end up in a punch up a couple of times in the movie. It's just great. It's hilarious.
I do like Christian Bale. Yeah. He's done a couple of good parts. He's definitely a good actor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's brilliant. And no, but it's funny actually. I did a wee podcast about the other night, but I finally sat down today and watched the South Park did that was I don't think it was one of their usual shows. It was like a separate movie called The Pandaverse, and it was they had a few things, but a lot of it was about Disney, Marvel, and how they've gone astray and kind of ruining movies at the moment. And it was really well done. It was like satire and funny, but it was also the whole thing was so there is legitimately at Disney there's a executive called Kathleen Kennedy, and a lot of people don't like her because they believe that she straight out ruined Star Wars with the latest
Oh,
movies that came
like
out
when
of Star
Disney
Wars.
took over.
Yeah, when Disney took over,
Yeah.
and because she was yeah, she was like heavily involved in that, and I think she is still kind of in charge of Star Wars and a bit like that. So she has a lot of pull, but yeah, a lot of people don't like her. And the South Park guys, they like just straight out went after her, and like they yeah, but, and it was funny. They did this thing, and she's like her whole thing, and it was like for every movie is just put a chick in it and make her gay and lame. And it's just the whole everything, every movie. And then like she's like, oh, we need to stop her. She's on the set of Bambi, and it's like, put a chick in it and make her gay and lame. And it's like, this is about a deer. I don't give a shit. That's just so
Oh,
funny.
yeah.
It's
No,
well done.
you got to be careful messing with Star Wars. Like you want to get it right because like Star Wars fans, well, a lot of Star Wars fans, they're not just normal fans. They're like hard out fans. They're super fans. Like you gotta keep them happy because
Yeah, and
they're the ones buying
I,
the
I
merchandise. They're the ones buying the like full life Darth Vader suits and lightsabers and
oh,
you know.
absolutely, yeah, exactly. And okay, so this is one thing about Disney. So they did they did, and I can't remember which one of their if it was at all their theme parks or just a few of them. They did like a special Star Wars experience, and it was like a special separate hotel, and you went into that, and it was like being on a galactic cruise. It was like being on on a spaceship, and there's this whole experience, and the whole thing flopped like really badly, and it cost them like hundreds of millions of dollars. This project, it was a ridiculous amount of money, and like I don't think it lasted a year. And some of the guys were saying, it was like, oh, yeah, well, it's because you had to pay this ridiculous amount of money to go and stay in this hotel. And you couldn't, like, they had a whole itinerary for like 3 days, and you couldn't leave. Like, you couldn't go off and do your own thing and like experience the other Disney park. And, like, people were like, I'm paying all this money. I don't want to be stuck in this thing for 3 days. Like, it's a cool experience, but for paying all this money, I don't want to do it. And it was a massive flop. And so there was things like that. And yeah, like the latest, like I am a Star Wars fan, like no doubt. I'm not a hardcore fan, but I'm probably a bit more than passionate about it than your average moviegoer. Um, and I didn't mind the last three, like the Disney Star Wars movies. I thought they were okay. But by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm pretty happy, like, now not to watch any more Star Wars movies. Like, beyond this is like I just feel like it's the end. And it was funny, I've listened to a few guys do reviews on it who really didn't like it. And these are like really passionate fans who were like really invested in it. And they pointed out like just some simple mistakes that could have made those ones so much better. And like the one of the main ones was just like, why didn't you put like Luke, Han Solo, and Princess Leia in a scene together? Like, they're not once in those movies all together. They were all in there, but they're not. And they're like, that should be part of it. And they didn't put
Very good
Luke
point.
in there. And yeah, there was a few things I was like, and I've listened to these guys. I was like, yeah, that would have actually been way better. I would have enjoyed that a whole lot more, and I would have been excited for more things coming out after that.
Yeah.
And they just didn't do any of that.
Yeah, they just need some of these super fans like on the board of directors for the movie and stuff, like, just to have some input on the script before it gets made into a movie.
Yeah, and like I feel like sometimes they have this idea of like, I don't think they don't know what people want to watch, but they have idea of what they should watch. And so they're like kind of like, oh, we'll do this and the fans will see it and they'll get passionate about it. And it's like, it's almost like, okay, so you went and watched Oppenheimer, and the other big movie at that time was Barbie, which was fine. Like, I no wish it didn't interest me at all, but it was a movie
Yeah.
by a woman for women.
Yeah.
No problem. I don't have any issues with that. That's cool. Wish you all the success. It doesn't interest me. But say they wanted to make a Barbie movie too, and they're like, okay, it was really great. Women loved it. We need to attract more men into it, and so we're going to make this a story more about Ken, and we're going to focus on Ken and all these men issues for Ken. It's like, well, first of all, guys probably still aren't going to be interested in that, no matter what you do. And then you're going to
Yeah.
piss off the women who enjoyed the Barbie movie. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's basically what they've done with some of the Star Wars
Yeah.
franchise. And I'm not saying that women don't love Star Wars, because they do. I'm just saying, like, you departed from what was really great and what people passionate about, and
Stop trying to
then
sell
you're
ice to
pissy
the
when you're like,
Eskimos.
yeah, it's like you're pissy when people didn't want to go see things when you changed everything. So yeah, but I thought it was also funny. Like, at the moment, I don't know if you've heard too much about it, but they've had going on for a while. There was an actors' strike and a writers' strike in Hollywood, and
Yeah.
the writers' strike finished up not for a while ago, and the actors' strike went on for a wee while. But it's actually funny, they've really shot themselves in the foot, as far as like, apparently there's going to be like no new movies out for like another 2 years, they reckon.
Yeah.
Just because of how it's affected everything, because like they couldn't shoot any more movies because they had no actors available, and the writers weren't able to write on anything. So it's like the writers have only just started getting back to work. So basically, any movies that are coming out now, they already had finished, and so they're kind of tidying
Right.
it up to get them out. But there's now going to be a massive gap because the writers couldn't work on anything for a long time, and the actors are only just starting to get back to work now. And so by the time the studios have anything out, it's going to be yeah, quite a long break, I think, before we actually see any more movies out. Like, there's going to be a few that are coming out that are already done. So that'll be interesting, eh?
Hopefully a positive thing, and we see some
'cause yeah,
like
the old
good
movie.
change.
I would question it. I would really question it because yeah, I don't. That's one of the things I think that I thought the South Park episode was quite funny at is like they're pointing out like they don't really understand their customers base too well. They're not giving like they kind of have this idea of what the customer should want, and they're trying to show that instead of opposed to just showing the customer what they actually want.
Yeah, give the customer. Isn't
Yeah.
that one of the things you like? Everybody knows it's like the customer's always right. Like that's like one thing you learn in like hospitality or any kind of customer service based job. Like the customer's always right. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, that's generally like rule number 1A is like the customer is always right. So I don't know why they're messing with that. Um,
The other ones watching the
yeah, but
movies, the other
the
ones
actors
spending the
strike is
money.
now all over, and yeah, yeah, and it is interesting because I think Hollywood's going through a big change because I've heard a few people talking about it, and it's like a lot of the like Disney and Netflix and that type of thing, well, like they changed to like a streaming services like like Netflix, like you got your Disney Plus and you got Amazon and all that type of thing, and I don't think it's quite been the cash cow that they thought it was going to be,
Mm.
because like people instead of like signing up and staying with that as like inflation and stuff affects people, I think a lot of people are like they'll pick up Disney Plus if they want to watch a season or something of a show. They'll binge watch it and then they'll cancel it. So they'll only keep it for a month or two as opposed to staying on as customers
Oh, I do
because
it
there's just
myself.
not enough. Yeah, yeah, because there's just not enough good like there might be a couple of shows that you like on there, and there's just not
Yeah,
enough on there to keep you hooked
yeah.
on there the whole time.
And there's something you're gonna want to watch, and you're gonna just go with that streaming service. Like there needs to be like one massive streaming service where you can just like maybe pay per show. Some can like you say you want to watch a whole series, and you can pay like I don't know, like a few dollars or $10 or whatever, and you can watch that series. Yeah, and like I don't know,
Yeah.
but you can't just go to the
Yeah, well,
DVD store now and like get a movie. Like sometimes I want to watch a movie and I'll be like looking on Amazon, and then I'll be looking on Disney Plus. I'll be looking on Netflix, Neon, like everything. And then sometimes it's not none of them. That might be on YouTube or Google. Like yeah, it's just like yeah,
yeah, I done the same, and I started to go back to some of the older movies on there, and I'm not talking really old, but I went, back, and I started to watch, like The Patriot. There was one with Mel Gibson, and, like,
yes,
Mel Gibson's a bit of a nutter, but, like, you go back and watch some of his older movies, like, the man's brilliant, and you wanna watch it, and, like, the movie's just excellent, and, um, and you're like, "Oh, man, why haven't we had anything like that good in a while?"
yeah.
Um, you
And
know
like Braveheart, there was another good one of Mel Gibson.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
And like some of the older Tom Hanks movies, like Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, so there's some good movies. But yeah, you're right. You don't see as many good movies coming out, which you know, it's like, and it's a big thing when they do. Like I went and seen that Oppenheimer, and I was just like,
Mm.
this is a really good movie, and it's just like it's actually quite. It means a lot because it's just like there's actually not that many. Because like, well, that was actually good. It's just like there used to be a lot more good movies
Yeah.
around. You weren't like so shocked when it was good. You're like, oh, it wasn't
Yeah,
shit.
and that's one of the things you go back and then you realize, like, when you notice it when you watch a good movie like Oppenheimer or something that's done really well, and you're like, "It's been a while," and you feel like it's worth going out and spending your money to go to the movies and see
Oh,
that.
100%. Yeah,
You're happy to do that. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Hollywood's in trouble, with is because, yeah, they're kinda not they're not doing that as much,
yeah,
and I think that's they have a lot of the Hollywood movies there. They have like a diversity quota and stuff. They have to have like a diverse cast and all these type of things and writers and all that type of thing. I don't have a problem with any of that, but I feel like they're not focused on actually doing a good story. It's like
yeah, yeah.
you can I don't really care how diverse the cast is or whatever. Just tell me a
Mhm.
good story, and people will come and watch it. And I think that's what you see there.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one of the things that's kind of interesting about the writers and actors strike, because they've been arguing that you know they're not getting a fair pay from the big moving companies. And I know I'm not really trying to defend Disney or anything like that. I do think that they are kind of a pretty corrupt corporate company.
Mm.
Um, so I don't think that there, but yeah, they're all striking over there, and they're wanting a bigger cut of the pie of the profits. But I think they're doing that at a time when a lot of the companies like Disney, who are the major players, they're actually not bringing in the money that they were. Especially if you
No,
look at
neither's
like the Marvel
Netflix.
universe.
Yeah, because it was at Netflix were
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not
they are,
doing
and
too
they're all
well. I
coming
mean, they
back.
put their prices up and all the rest of it, which I mean, is I suppose fair enough in a way.
Yeah, so I thought I'd bring up this article, so I just want to read it a little bit. So overall, the Actors Union, like the Writers Union, a month before it secured major concessions from studios, capitulation by Hollywood's biggest companies, as the New York Times reported, and a stark reversal for studio heads who assumed the unions would be relatively compliant in reaching a deal. For both actors and writers, the negotiations represented a once-in-a-blue moon opportunity to address what was seen as existential threats to their careers, namely the future of AI in Hollywood and the brutal economics of the floundering streaming economy, which which could deliver massive audience hits such as Netflix, Orange is the New Blacks, or Suits, the old USA network series. Funny enough, like I think if you go on to Netflix, that Suits is like one of the top suggestions for shows, and like
Yeah.
nobody thinks it's a good show. It's just that it's got what's her name? Oh,
Blooming Prince Harry's wife, Meghan
Meghan
Markle.
Markle in it, and that's the only reason. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the only reason nobody is going to watch that show because they think it's good. It's just because it's got her in it, and some good looking people in suits and stuff. I think that's about the only reason. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
most
like
people see a movie
I'm
about, I
not
mean, a
saying that I
series about
don't.
lawyers, and they're not going to be keen on it, are they?
Yeah, yeah, and like I don't mean to be too harsh. Like I don't think that yeah, absolutely fair enough if actors and writers want a better deal and a fair deal, and they want to negotiate that. But I think that they've done it at a really poor time, unfortunately, and that like it's a time when a lot of the major studios, like like Disney and Netflix, like they're doing a big change and they're trying to cut costs and do all this type of thing. And like now you got all the actors and writers that are asking for a bigger cut of the pie. And I
Yeah.
think one of the reasons it took them so long is because the studios were actually like, if we wait them out, a lot of these writers and actors are going to have to go find new jobs, and they'll go off and do something else. And then there'll be less of them that we have to pay, and we can agree to their terms because we don't mind paying them more because there's now less
Oh,
of them.
100%. Yeah. I'd say
Yeah,
that's
and I
exactly
think
what
that's
they're
what
up to.
I think that's what's happened. So, like, I can definitely understand, and like, I'm happy for the actors and stuff if they got what they wanted. But I think ultimately there's going to be less of them now to actually do the job.
Yeah, and they chose a poor time to strike, like you said. I mean, you need to. What do they say? Strike while the iron's hot. Like, if you're going to go on strike, wait till like Disney or whatever's making heaps of money, or they put up their their monthly rates, and they're going really good. When they've got heaps of funds, then go for them. But you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's an interesting one to watch. I think it will be interesting to see because, yeah, like I said, I think Hollywood is kind of struggling at the moment, and some of the shows that you see that are actually doing well haven't come out of Hollywood. You got like that one. I know we're going back a wee while in it go now, but there was oh, what was that one? Is it Squid Game? It came out a while ago. That was
yes,
out of
that was
Korea.
good.
Yeah,
There was
it was really good.
they viewed it on Netflix. I watched that. That was really good. Yeah.
Mm. And
It's
there's
it's a
one.
good series when you put up with the voiceover and still really enjoy it. Yeah,
Yes,
100%. I think there's a
and
sequel series coming out too.
yeah, and and yeah, and the other one is the likes of one I just heard about recently, and it wasn't a show. It's called One Piece, which is based on like an anime, like a Japanese anime. It's like apparently I'd heard of it before, but apparently in like Japan, it's like as big as Dragon Ball Z.
Oh wow.
And
So yeah, that's
yeah,
definitely
and I
big.
started, and they're doing a live action version of this, so it's not a cartoon or anything like that. And I was like, oh, that's doesn't sound like it was be something that I'd really be interested in.
Yeah.
Um, but I listened to a guy talking about. He just did a review of it because he reckoned it was the best show he'd seen this year. And I was like, "Oh,
Mm.
really? Okay." And I listened to it, and it was like, just the story sounds really interesting, and I like the character, and it sounds really well written. So that's probably a show I'm going to go back and watch. And I think that's going
Yeah.
to be, and it's not one of these major, massive budget flicks that are coming out. Um, like you compare that, like this is just a low budget one, and it sounds like people really enjoy it. They enjoy the story is really well done, and the acting's well done, and that's doing well. And you compare that to like Amazon did the Lord of the Rings TV program. That was the
Oh
most
yeah.
expensive. Yeah, that was the most expensive show ever made. They spent more money on that television show than Peter Jackson did on all three movies. That's how
You're
expensive that was.
joking.
And for all that money, like Amazon is not struggling for money. Don't get me wrong. They've got more money
Jeff
than
Bezos.
governments. Yeah, exactly. So like he's not struggling. He can afford to do a big loss. But for
Yeah.
all that money, for the most expensive TV show that they had, like I think it was 60% of people who started watching that show didn't finish the series.
That's
Like,
bad stats. Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I don't think I finished it. I struggled through it because I'm like, maybe it'll get better, maybe it'll get better.
yeah.
But it kind of strung it along, and it was, I don't know, like it wasn't. Yeah, it just didn't sit well.
No,
Like,
it
no.
wasn't. Yeah, I did watch the whole thing, but it was just like, I'm not really sure why I would.
Yeah.
It's it's Lord of the
It,
Rings,
di-
so
it,
I'll
it
probably
didn't
watch.
didn't. There was like kind of different stories here and there, but they kind of didn't. It didn't mash together. You know, like it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a very compelling story, I didn't think, and yeah, it was. Yeah, it didn't really feel like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. That's the thing,
Nah.
and there was a
They had
funny
the
thing as
action
well.
and the special effects, but the storyline wasn't very good. Nah.
Yeah, and apparently they actually had the opportunity to work with Peter Jackson. Like he was pretty keen to come aboard and work with them,
Yeah.
and I think they never got back to him. I think they decided he wasn't going to make the show that they wanted to make, and so they went in a different direction. And it's like,
Oh.
you guys are idiots.
Do you guys remember how like Lord of the Rings is like why people know what New Zealand is and where New Zealand is?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
it like made our
Yeah.
country known to the world. Oh, maybe he's not that good. Like, because then they won Oscars and lots of awards and
Oh yeah,
like movie awards and Oscars and
so
stuff.
well.
Like, it done quite well.
I'm pretty sure after the first movie came out, listen, I know this is going back a long time ago now, but I'm pretty sure after the first movie came out, that did so well, it covered the costs for all three films. Like they made
Yeah.
a profit on the first one. So then the
Yeah.
next three, it was just all profit from then on. Like it
Yeah.
was that successful. Mm. Anyway,
Well, there you go.
I'll make a hard segue from there. Well, it's not a segue; it's just completely off. Because there was something else I was going to talk about, and I know this is going to sound completely uninteresting at all to you, but I just thought it was funny because I feel like every week that we do a podcast, I've got a different conspiracy theory for you, and they're just
Oh,
kind of
no, hit
fun,
me.
silly ones. But
They're always
this one's good because
interesting.
this one involves Taylor Swift. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So Taylor Swift, recently,
She's an alien.
like a few weeks ago or something, she started dating this like American football player. I forget the guy's name. Taylor or Tyler. I don't really care. Doesn't matter. Okay. But he plays for New York Jets or something like that. Okay. So that's cool. And like lots of people in America, it's a big thing. She's like, she's got a new boyfriend and it's a football player. And it's like, okay, she'll have another album about this, I'm sure, in 6 months. So big whoops.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah.
it's a big deal in America and people are excited about it. That's fine.
She's got a lot of fans.
I saw this conspiracy theory going around. Okay. Yeah. And this is a cynical take on it, but I think it's hilarious. Okay. So apparently, like Taylor Swift isn't well known for controversy. She's pretty non-controversial, people just like her music and that's fine. Anyway, this this is one conspiracy theory because apparently the only negative kind of press she's had in quite a long time is that she uses her private jet a lot. Now, personally, I'm like, you're rich. I don't care. You know, you're allowed to use a private jet if you're rich and fly your friends around. That's fine. If you're that successful, it's a perk of the, whatever, do what you want.
Yeah,
But a lot of
100%.
people are like, no, it's bad for the environment. You're not allowed to. And apparently, you used to, if you would look up Taylor Swift jet, you would see all these stories come up about her and how much she flies in her private jet and how bad she's in for the environment because she's got a massive carbon footprint and all this. Okay, and people are upset about her over that. Okay, now if you Google Taylor Swift jet, the only headlines you will find is that she's now dating a player for the New York Jets. And people are like, did she start this relationship just to shut down anybody? And so, like, nobody can find these stories about her. And
You know what? She's smart. She's
she
not
is
just
smart.
a pretty face, is she?
You did not get
That's
that
what-
rich and you did not get that rich and successful by being a stupid woman. I don't know whether she is like literally that manipulative that she would do that, but I like the theory, so I'm running with it.
Nah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
only a
did see there was a,
conspiracy until it's been proven.
Yeah, I heard another guy talk recently, and he was talking about Kim Kardashian, and he's like, I genuinely believe that she's like a PR genius. He said because anytime, because if you watch the news with Kim, I can't remember what he was talking about at the time, but he said every single time Kim Kardashian has a bad story about her break, like that looks bad, he goes immediately after it's something else. She'll have something else in the story that'll drop and it will completely distract from this bad thing that I was talking about. And
Oh, yeah.
with her,
That's definitely
I
intentional.
would definitely believe that. Yeah, she would drop family members under the bus
Yeah.
to get some press off her.
Not that I've ever been into it, but I'm pretty sure the Kardashians have been going on for a long time. Like, I mean, they've had their reality TV show ever since, I can remember. So they've been around a long time. So, yeah, I'd say they would be. Yeah, they'll be covering things up. Something really bad happens. They'll
Yeah, absolutely.
drop something in there. It's exciting, but doesn't make them look like shit. No, my body's not fake. Look at this new dog.
Yeah.
That the
Well,
family
apparently,
got.
like yeah. Well, apparently, like the royal family are really bad for doing stuff like that as well. Like, there was one oh, so what's the King Charles's brother, Prince Andrew? He's like the really dodgy one. He's like been on the Epstein's plane a whole bunch of
Yep.
times and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, like, and apparently, like, not many people like him for reasons like that, which is fair enough. Which is fair enough. And yeah, apparently, like I can't remember. There was some publication like in the UK was about to drop a really bad story about him, and they came through and like, we're going to give you an exclusive interview with Meghan Markle, and so they dropped the story. It's like, wow.
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch some of The Crown, and they even go into that kind of thing. When
So yeah, a lot of that does happen. But but with
100%.
Taylor Swift, I don't know whether she would start just to.
Well,
Oh,
if all the other
I think old
celebrities
StreamYard's
are
dropping
doing
out a
it,
little bit there.
if all the other celebrities are doing it, I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? Yeah, it was like what was it? Adele. She had this theory. Who were they talking to? I think they were talking to Ed Sheeran because he's friends with her. And there was a rumor about Adele. I can't remember what the rumor was, but it was a rumor about a relationship. Something that happened with the relationship. Anyway, this rumor went round, and they asked Ed Sheeran, we want to know, is the rumor true? And it was Ed Sheeran said, he goes, I'll tell you one thing about Adele. She's pretty onto it. What she does is, when like she's got some news has happened or whatever, she'll tell a different version of that story to. She'll tell a different version of that story to, like, say half a dozen different people, and then there might be one version of that story that's incorrect, or yeah, well, they'll all be incorrect or whatever, but whatever version of that story gets out, like, she'll know where it leaked from. So, like, pretty smart. Pretty smart. Oh, we've lost our host. Where's he disappeared to? We lost our host
Sorry,
there
man.
for a second.
Yeah, no,
I was just getting to
the
this
internet was
Adele
starting to drop
story.
out.
Oh, was
Okay,
it?
sorry. Continue with your Adele
Disappearing
story.
act. Nah, so basically Adele something happened with her relationship and she would tell, say, half a dozen different stories about whatever happened to friends, right? And then eventually an issue would get eventually that one of the versions of the story would get to the leaked to the media, and
Oh,
then
right.
she would be able to trace what version of that story back to who she told it to, and then she would know, can't trust them. Because
Oh, wow.
so like so he said, nah, Adele's pretty smart. Like, So he goes he could confirm that whatever that story was false. Yeah.
Mm.
Because he's like, I'm one of the trusted friends that doesn't leak shit. So like, yeah. But yeah. But yeah, smart. And I think celebrities got to do a lot of things like that, cover things up or be smart, who they talk to, who they can trust. Because I mean, being a celebrity, everyone's going to act like they're your friend, but most of
Yeah.
them probably aren't. Like all your fans, and you might go to a concert. Like everyone that comes to see you probably wants to be your friend. You might be with 30,000 people there. They're all going to want to be your friend. How many of those fans could you trust? 1% of them.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
reality.
I heard there's a funny story about Elon Musk. At one point, he was having an issue with I think it was inside Tesla, and he had employees were leaking company emails, like confidential company emails, to the
Yeah.
press. And so he wanted to stop that. And so he sent out an email to all staff, something about that. And sure enough, the email got leaked. But what he had actually done is every email that went to each employee was different. And you couldn't tell. The only thing you could tell, it had an extra space in the text. Like there was just,
Oh, yeah.
and it was a different spot for every employee that it went to. And
Yeah.
so when the email got leaked, he could look through the email and see where the space was and work out. He managed to work out which employee was leaking the emails, and he fired them.
Wow.
It's like, wow,
Impressed.
I
He
wouldn't
didn't
have
get
thought of
where
that.
he is today from being a dummy.
No, he didn't.
Very
Yeah,
smart.
but hey, I do have another story here. That I shouldn't laugh about it, but I can't help laughing at this. So once again, we have another story about people blocking climate change protesters blocking streets. And so this one actually happened in like Panama in South America. Um, but this one ended quite serious environmental protesters at Panama road blockade. So yeah, this is quite, and I think there's a the guy was real calm about it. That was probably the thing that was it. Like he showed up and argued
Real assertive type attitude.
with these guys, and probably don't need to play it. There's just him walking. So it's going a bit slow.
Oh, a few technical difficulties. Yeah, well, I remember the ones they had in
The good old
London, and
technical.
there was like, do you remember the ones? I think it was London or in the UK, and they had they had people like lying on the road, and there was like a bus would pull up, and I think it was a bus driver or a truck driver got out, and because they had backpacks on, he just grabbed them by grabbed them by the handle of the backpacks, and just dragged them out of the road, got back in the bus, and drove through. But like,
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah, well,
you
I heard. Sorry, continue.
No, I was just saying, like, I look at them and I think, like, protesting, like, if you want to protest, that's your right to protest or whatever. But like, don't piss the rest of the public off, because if you piss everyone else off, no one's going to be on your side. Because for protests to work, you want more and more people to be protesting, right? Effectively, if you piss off the rest of the public, everyone's going to turn against you, and your protest is going to flop. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not gonna turn out well, and yeah, that's one of the ones that just annoys everybody. Like, you're just in the way and you stop. And apparently, I think the one in Panama, it happened, like, it was in several areas, and they were actually shutting down, like, major roads, and, like, a lot of people couldn't work. So it was they were kinda shutting down the country. So it was like it was a little bit beyond just a standard process and, like, standard annoying people. They were actually getting to the point that were causing some real problems. And, yeah, and like a 77-year-old lawyer, he like there was videos going around, that actually kinda showed it. I don't think, I could be wrong, I didn't think that actually both people that he shot died. I thought one definitely did and the other one was okay. He was injured and went to the ambulance, I heard, but I could be wrong on that. Um, but yeah, I think the man just decided, "Look, I don't have time for this," "I'm gonna sort it out my way." But yeah, I I really have to imagine there can't be too many people who are too keen to go and sit on the road in Panama now after that.
Nah, like some countries are just hardcore. I mean, you would not see that in the likes of the UK or New Zealand or Australia. Like, not, you know.
Not pull out a gun and shoot somebody. No, I think it have
Nah,
to get pretty serious before that happens here.
yeah.
But hey, speaking of serious issues that have happened here, I've got one other story here that I just saw tonight that made me laugh as well. So I'll just try and share. So this happened here in New Zealand, and this is a big embarrassment apparently for New Zealand police. Um, and it's funnily enough, it's an ex-police officer, so they can't do much to it. So there's an ex-cop's social media pages and ongoing embarrassment for police. And I took a quick glance at the story earlier, and it's just that the take on it is just quite hilarious. So former policeman Chris Yates has built popular social media accounts mocking politicians, police administration, gay people, and youth offenders, and his growing following includes members of the New Zealand Police. Samo Oatley investigates this, blah, blah, blah. It's gay to be a firefighter, says one meme, and another celebrates the idea of criminals dying in prison. Facebook posts call the Ministry of Justice staff soft. You can guess what that says, and
Hmm.
claims defense lawyers smell like a bitch. Comments call former police minister Poto Williams an overplayed, underqualified parasite, and former Prime Minister Dame Jacinda Ardern tart at the top. I do think this is funny, like that. Another statist tells a journalist reporting on police shootings to eat a bag of dicks. Oh, I can't not laugh at this. I just
That's awesome.
I do think it's hilarious because I I just would
I wonder if
compare this
he's
a
going
little
to get
bit
in
to,
trouble for this.
like, people say it's really inappropriate and things like that. It's like, well, he's a former police officer, so he's not a current. Yeah, he's not a current police officer, so there's not too much you can do about it. But also, like, I don't know, if you ever talk to like nurses or something like that, I've got like the like graveyard sense of humor. It's so dark and
Oh
so
yeah,
hilarious. And I
yeah,
can imagine that the same goes for police officers. So now that a former police officer is kind of, doesn't have to toe the line so much and can kind of say what it is. And it's memes, like it's jokes. Like
yeah.
you can say it's inappropriate and all this, but yeah, no, I think it's so
Oh,
you Blue Line Banter New Zealand. And
I have
so
to have a look at that.
one news
So what was that? Was that on
can
Facebook?
confirm police have investigated how their own staff, including yeah, I think it's a Facebook page and maybe an Instagram page as well. And yeah, they're investigating how their own staff, including frontline constables, and that's I think this is just one of the great things about memes is that you can't really stop them, and they're a great tool for making a point,
Oh,
and
100%.
you can't really do too much. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
everyone's allowed to
I
have a
think
bit
I'd
of
rather
fun,
have
eh?
that. People expressing. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
So it's
that's
inappropriate. Oh,
awesome.
well, leave people at the
I'm gonna have
inappropriate.
to look up Blue Line
If you
Banter.
don't like it, yeah, absolutely. Everybody definitely do not go to Blue Line Banter and follow that Facebook page.
Nah,
It's
do
definite
not.
misogyny and yeah. No,
Yeah,
definitely do not follow that,
it's
guys.
yeah, it's treason.
Who would mock Jacinda Ardern? She's just everybody
Oh,
loves her.
I've never heard of it being done before, so news to me.
Yeah, there we go. More you know. Definitely, you know to avoid that page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, man, this has been fun. We might have to make it a wrap from there, man.
No, it sounds good. It was good to catch up. Do another one. Yeah, no, it's yeah, good to hear all our viewers out there and listeners and all the rest of it. Like and subscribe
Yep.
if you want to, and yeah, we'll see you again on the next one.
Yeah, we will be back again soon with another show and some more takes and hopefully a few good laughs. So thank you very much, guys. If you can leave a like and a subscribe, that would mean the world to us. Thank you, and we'll catch you again soon. Woo! Oh, yeah.